The Nairobi River once flowed clear and cold from the Ondiri swamp, seemingly in harmony with its surroundings. So it had been many years ago, until a blight crept up over the water. Life has now been snuffed out of the stricken world it flows through. Tonight, we take the ominous journey along the once mighty Nairobi River and uncover the crisis lurking in the shallows. How the river is serving the counties, the slime and sludge with which they water some of your food. That's coming up among these other stories. Politicians are already spurring over 2022.
Ule mtu wa kitendawili ametangaza ya kwamba anataka kushindana na mimi kule 2022. Mimi nataka niseme hivi. Haya mambo nimeyasikia.
The deputy president throws the first jab. Plus, how the young males from the Chamus community come of age. And also tonight, this chef spent 75 hours in the kitchen. Now she's the cream of the crop.
NTV Weekend Edition with Smirit Vidyarthi.
Thanks for joining us tonight. Flora Atieno is our sign language interpreter. We begin with our special report. The Nairobi River is famous, but for the wrong reasons. Wherever it passes, it leaves a terrible stench in the air, the result of serious pollution. Over the last few weeks, NTV travelled the entire journey of the river, accompanied by scientists, to find out what the dirty flow contains. And the results may explain the increase of diseases that were previously unheard of in the rural areas, but are now prevalent. Well, could Nairobi River be the common denominator in the increase of non-communicable diseases in the 5 counties that the Nairobi-Athi River basin flows? NTV's Charity Mwangi has the sights, the sounds, the confessions and outcomes of our investigations of the toxic flow.
The green vegetation and the flowers scattered around the little-known Ondiri Springs creates a picturesque environment nourished by a water source that runs deep underneath the ground. The sparkly treasure peeks from underneath and is seen in different spots around the vast area, letting out the secret of its great potential. This is the source of the Nairobi River that swells into the Great Athi River. The river travels through 5 counties, but its reputation becomes murkier the further it flows. NTV, in partnership with the University of Nairobi, has conducted a study to find out how bad the pollution is and the damage to the river. Our 2-month investigation shows that River Athi has formed a corridor of disease as it flows to the Indian Ocean. Although those worst affected are the communities that depend on the river directly, the issue is of national concern. We sampled 10 spots from the source at Ondiri in Kikuyu, Kiambu County, to the mouth that is at Sabaki in Malindi, Kilifi County. The Nairobi River is a feature that reveals the architectural prowess that went into the design of the city under the sun. Nairobi was designed to be a city surrounded by streams of water, Nairobi River to the east and the Ngong River to the west. The vision and the reality have flowed in different directions with the passage of time, turning the 2 sources of life into a shame and an eyesore for one of the most progressive cities in Africa.
This particular river is a concern not only to Warma, but to many key and stakeholders, investors, tourists. We are losing a lot in terms of billions, and not only on the side of investors, I want you to look at the other side of spiral effects of how much we spend in medicine, how much we spend in our hospitals. It turns to billions of money.
Our scientists are all geared up to check the biological and chemical pollutants that lurk in the waters. We follow them on this journey, recording their findings and meeting communities that depend on the Nairobi River water drainage basin.
We want to capture whatever is happening at source as we go downstream. And we have chosen this area since there's very few human activity. Of course, there's a few, but not as intense as we go downstream. And that's why we have decided to pick water at source. We want to understand the quality of water, both chemical and microbial, what we call the physiochemical and the microbial quality. For that, we need to sample water using different apparatus, and that's why we use this bottle. This is a sterile bottle, meaning that it has no bacterial contamination at all. We prepare it in the lab, and then when we come here, we handle it aseptically and pick water from the river as it flows without disturbing and without contamination. That means that we won't take it as it is.
The water here is clear. A thick forest acts as a buffer to protect the river by limiting human activities at close proximity. However, this quickly changes as the first pollutants are introduced into the river a few kilometers from the source. Farming activity close to the river compromises the integrity of the river as pesticides and fertilizers seep into the water through the soils.
So we are at Nairobi River, just after Uthiru, before Kawagware. The river is relatively clean compared to downstream, but relatively with a bit of sediments, and the sediments would be as a result of the farming that is along the river beds. That's why it is a little bit brown.
As the river snakes its way to Museum Hill, its appearance changes significantly from the pristine, clean liquid to downright filthy sludge. It carries with it the pollutants picked up from the heavily populated Kawangware and Kangemi estates and the upmarket Riverside Drive. The presentation of the water tells of the possibility of injection of raw sewer into the river.
The color speaks for itself. There are a lot of impurities and sediments that we can see. And I'd said earlier on, we can also pick the smell that was not there when we started.
On its onward journey, the river moves from bad to worse. At the country bus terminus, the recklessness of some of the city dwellers and their attitude towards the environment can be seen through the garbage that collects at the riverbank.
Water is highly polluted. That's a fact. If one would use that water, then of course a number of things may happen. And that would only take an investigation to have an in-depth understanding.
That notwithstanding, this is home to a group of street urchins who seem not to be disturbed by the stench from the river and the dangers it poses. The further the river flows, the more troubling the water appears, and the more blatant the abuse of this natural resource becomes. Residential houses next to the river often directly discharge their waste, including raw sewage, into the water.
Once we tried to touch some informal settlement, the many MCAs that came to this authority, please don't come to my section. I'm talking to people to get out of the river. Because for them, they are seeing votes. They are seeing numbers. But you want to be voted by people who are dying.
You don't have to victimize this person by telling them to move, all right? Yes, maybe they have violated the law by building so much close to the river. But what remedy do you have before you destroy their property? I would suggest that first we look at the solution we are bringing on board, whether it will save that house or not.
And as it moves further east in Dandora, it meets and joins Makueni River, which is equally flowing in filth. The Dandora dam site lets us into the government's attitude towards the country's rivers. Of all the places that could have been used as a garbage field, this appeared to be the most appropriate. Environmental standards require a 6 to 30-meter distance between any water source and any human activity. That doesn't seem to apply here. It seems then that the public is taking the cue from its leadership. The body of water then cascades into the Dandora Falls. At first glance, it has the markings of a beautiful destination that will provide great recreation for Nairobi residents.
Si vision yenye tuko nayo, tunataka ikue ni park. Park yenye ati si lazima mimi saa zile nataka kutembeza familia yangu ati nitoke hapa niende places zingine. Naweza leta mtoi wangu hapa na feel ako ndani ya community yake, lakini community yenye iko sawa.
However, the potential has been snuffed out by the garbage and sewage that has transformed the river into a flowing sewer.
Right now, nothing can survive in this river. It got choked up with so much garbage and so much waste, such that ipendezi hata macho, you know.
Nonetheless, it appears that the river provides nourishment to vegetables that may make it to the dining tables of some city dwellers. The water here appears heavy with sediments. It is dark in color and foamy. Area residents say the situation was different in the past.
Once tukiwa watoi hapa, tulikuwa tunakamigi fishing hapa. Tunaweza come to fish hapa, na tuwashe moto hapa, na tuipikie hapa. No due time, juu pia county government ilikam ni kama ikaslip kidogo. Wale malandlord walikam wakaanza kuown land. Hizi areas karibu na hii mto, walianza kuelekeza nini sewer lines zao kwa mto.
This group of youth has taken it upon themselves to clean the waterfall, which in itself seems to be a mission in futility.
It's a combined effort. If those who are removing waste continue removing waste, and those who are dumping waste continue dumping waste, then it will be a tug of war where we cannot win.
They have, however, grown this forest as a way of honoring a river that provided great memories of their childhood, even as they hope for better days ahead. From here, we visit the 14 falls whose reputation precedes itself. We anticipate to see the 14 majestic falls that draw locals and foreigners alike. But on arrival, we are disappointed. The air is heavy with a strong familiar stench that wards off any desire to interact with the water.
We have a lot of human or animal waste, and mostly human waste because this is Nairobi. That ends up in the river. There are chemicals that may be released to the river. So a combination of all that would be an explanation of the foaming that we are seeing, as well as the color that, of course, indicates a lot of sewer contaminants.
At this point, the Nairobi River has joined the Ngong River and now officially becomes Athi River. The source of the Ngong River is at the Embakasi Forest in Ngong, Kajiado County. And just like Nairobi River, the narrative is the same. Clean at the source, passes through several slum areas, including Kibera slum, goes through the industrial area where it mingles with all manner of chemicals, and the end result is filthy and life-threatening.
There are a number of parameters that you check for water to qualify for domestic use. And Simple ones would be color and smell. If you can't attain the qualities at that level, you don't even have to go a little bit deeper to the things that you can't see. And this water has failed that.
On our second visit to the 14 falls, the water levels have significantly dropped, but still this area continues to enjoy visits, more specifically from students. Athi River acts as a boundary between Kiambu County and Machakos County at the 14 falls. Residents of this area largely depend on agriculture, and yes, farmers rely on water from this river for their produce. Huge tracks of pipes reveal this secret. Agnes Katungua, a farmer, says Athi River is their only hope.
Hatuwezi kusema ati ni kazi mzuri, hapana. Tunasema hii maji ni mbaya. Surely ni mbaya, hata ukiinua hivi ukiangalia si ni ya green. Hiyo green hebu niambie uende wewe ukiweka kwa karai uone ni green uoge. Unaweza? Enda usafishe vyombo. Unaweza kusafisha naye. Kwa hivyo hii maji kusema ukweli haitusaidii hata. Kwa sababu kama inatusaidia kama saa hii ningekuwa na nyumba ya mawe. Lakini saa hii niko na nyumba ya matope na niko kwa mto, inaweza kunisaidia niwe tajiri.
We find Katungua at her farm with her 2 children. She grows vegetables that not only feed her family, but also provide her with an income.
Hii shamba ni yangu ni ya eka 5. Siwezi kujisaidia naye kwa sababu ninalima. Maji ikialifika, ile pesa nilikuwa natafuta, si imeisha.
The food that she grows is, however, dammed from the point she puts the seed into the ground. Her water source slowly poisons the fruit, and the damage is evident.
Unaona mumea kama sasa uangalie hii mimea, unaona inaanza kukauka na chini. Kwa hivyo inaanza kuaffectiwa na hiyo maji. Tukifika mwezi wa 7 tunaondoka kwa shamba, wa 8, wa 9 tunaanza kuondoka kwa shamba kwa sababu ugonjwa inakuanga mingi kwa sababu ya maji vile inakuanga mbaya.
Katungua tells us that she knows the water is unfit for farming as middlemen who engage in the export market continuously reject their produce. This has led them to redirect their market to the source of the pollution, the city dwellers.
Wenye wananunuanga wanakujanga kwa masamba. Wanakuja wanajua misiri inatoka wapi ama biribiri. Hata biribiri washukuangi. Hata hii mabaubau washukuangi.
They would feed. They will feel okay today and tomorrow. But 1 year down the line, you may not tell what's happening.
Hata mimi nikipeleka hii sukuma huko kwa soko, siwezi kusema inatoka Athi River. Mimi nasema inatoka huko Ukambani. Ndio wasiseme inatoka kwa sewage.
And so it seems that the pollution has come full circle, as the polluters are served up a slice of the poisoned fruit. But it is not just the small-scale farmers who use the river water. NTV can confirm that Del Monte Farm, that produces pineapples both for export and the local market, uses the Athi River water. Our cameras captured this pumping device, siphoning water directly from the river into the farms. The water that is sprinkled onto the pineapple plantation bears a familiar smell at close range, which confirms our suspicion. A company employee who will remain anonymous informed us that the farm uses the river water in its raw form to irrigate its produce. The same is confirmed by an engineer with the National Irrigation Board in charge of the Galana Irrigation Project, who discloses that many other irrigation projects use the polluted water to grow food for the country.
Right away from 14 Falls, we have the Delamonde farms. And the Delamonde farms are released from the Mukamuku Cooperative Society. So we have big areas there and pineapples, and they are pumping directly from the Athi River. Then from there we have the first Alcora public scheme, which is called Kayata. This is a gravity-fed system which we have stocked directly, and it's commanding up to 3,000 acres. These farmers are growing horticultural crops, they are growing maize, they are growing bananas, and just across all the crops you can imagine for food security. Then from there now, right from there, we have now some bit of individual farmers pumping straight from the river. Then just as you go a few kilometers, like some 20 kilometers or so, there's a Kaba, the Kaba irrigation scheme. It's also an gravity system, which commands about 500 acres. Farmers are growing food crops and horticultural crops. And most of these crops find their market in Kilimani and also Mwala and up to Machakos. Then just downstream, about 5 kilometers or so, we have the Kamudhampia irrigation scheme. It's another project with about 500 acres under irrigation. Farmers are also equally growing horticultural crops of soil to the markets and food crops like maize. Now from there, we go down towards Makueni region, towards the Thwake Dam, where now we are doing the storage. And you are aware that once we do the Thwake Dam, we are targeting to put 100,000 acres under irrigation with the Thwake Dam, using the same source of water.
Sasa mimi nikiwaambia, kwa sababu hata wakiwa huko kwa factory, kwa sababu unaona sasa wakimwaga maji yenye iko na chemicals kwa hii mto, hata wao tunawaafect, kwa sababu hii matunda wanaenda wanakula. Hii sukuma ninapeleka Githurai. Sasa si hao hata wanakula. Kwa hivyo kama wanaweza, watafute mahali wawe wanaweka hiyo uchafu mbaya, wanaweza kutusaidia sana na wajisaidia hata wao.
Further downstream in Galana, a project is ongoing. The vastness of the maize fields reveals that this is a grain basket in the making. The mechanized watering system is an indication of the great investment that has gone into the project. However, at the water source, the only attempt to purify the water is a light filtration to ensure that the pumping system isn't clogged by the debris carried by the river.
We are now trying to realize the full potential of the Athi. Now that we are doing the Thwake Dam here, and we are doing the Galana. Because much of what has been happening are small schemes which are stocked indirectly from the river. So what I would say is that eventually we are looking at a river now which will be able to command up to almost 4,000 acres under crop.
The Galana irrigation project seeks to cut the food deficit in the country by half. The project will utilize at least 170,000 acres to grow maize for feeding the areas that are affected by drought, specifically the lower eastern region, northeastern region and the coast. While the scientists tell us that the grain may be safe, the stocks are not. However, the government's plan for the stock means that the danger remains.
ADC, their main mandate, and what they are doing majorly in the other part of the farm in Galana, is livestock. So we are looking at a scenario whereby also now the stocks will be used on livestock. And you know, this one we easily complement. We are doing production of maize, and in that side we are also now undertaking in a major way now livestock production in Galana.
All right, it's not over yet. In a moment, we'll take a break, but a quick check on your feedback. The hashtag is ToxicFlow, and on Twitter, Kelly, you tweeted another significant elaboration how one sustainable activity to the environment can affect millions hundreds of miles away, the web of life. And then Eric, you say, let us not lie to ourselves. Nairobi River will never be clean with the water passing through some slums where wastage is disposed of. What do you expect? The shanties around mess things further. And then Chris Kirwa, you say, dear those in charge at Ministry of Tourism, NEMA and the Ministry of Health, I hope you're watching NTV Kenya, and tomorrow call for a crisis meeting and ask yourself very tough questions. We can't allow this to go on. The blatant abuse of Nairobi River is sickening. Keep your thoughts coming to us via the hashtag ToxicFlow. All right, now coming up in part 2 of our special report.
To a large extent, unless the pollution is stopped, we're just damming poison.
The toxic flows cascade of devastation downstream. That's straight ahead.
The Presbyterian University of East Africa is a world-class faith-based private university registered with the Commission for University Education. We are located in Thogoto, Kikuyu. We offer Master in Business Administration and Educational Management, bachelor's, diplomas and certificates in clinical medicine and surgery, business administration, education, arts and science, occupational therapy, nursing, mass communication, computer science, hospitality and tourism, and theology. September to December semester 2019 intake is ongoing. We are an accredited CASNEB and ICDL center and registration is ongoing. The Presbyterian University of East Africa, finding new paths. Apply online through www.puea.ac.ke or visit the admissions office. Contact 0723 799 904. Admissions at puea.ac.ke.
When the spirit of Kenya got going that magical day, it never looked back. And now, the same spirit is ready to take Kenya to the next level, led proudly by a new generation. Kenya Kin, Shangilia, Hustler Kenya.
In 2017, Lifestyle Estates promised Lifestyle Heights in Tatu City. The dream is now a reality. Lifestyle Heights is ready for occupation from 1st September 2019. Lifestyle Heights is a modern gated community of 2, 3 and 3 bedroom with DSQ apartments with amenities rare to find elsewhere. We are inviting you to our open day on the 24th and 25th August 2019 at Lifestyle Heights, Tatu City from 8 a.m. Karibuni nyote.
Tusonge mbele na Fiber Mobile. Get a Fiber SIM card today and enjoy Tusonge mbele bundles at affordable prices.
Wacha niende hivi nikuletea katika hii. Wewe unataka nini?
Can I buy a chocolate, please? It's for my mom. Happy birthday, Mom.
Thank you, Bella. There's a class and a half in everyone.
Why are you filming, Mommy?
To help people stop getting sick. People think the weather makes them sick. Actually, it's the germs. Dettol protects from up to 100 illness-causing germs, including the cold and flu virus.
Rough and tough quality textured coating gives your walls a tough and beautiful finish. Available in over 6,000 shades, it hides surface imperfections. Call us on 0709 887 000 to place your order. Crown. If you like it, crown it.
Once again, we are at it together. We are absolutely everywhere and we love it. This is what makes us tick. This is what makes our heart beat. It is always on the edge. It is always football time.
Get an HD decoder, dish kit, plus 2 months of DSTV Family for only 4,999 shillings.
Mbele iko sawa nimecheck na leo na
your power that I will never forget. Drop me your pen and our location. Stack your stories as simu, me stack in my conversation. Stack, utanipata kwenye gate. Kama ni appointment, you know that I won't be late. No, his story najua well not relate. So time really sorted to participate. Take a selfie.
Leo nimekam ku get down. Leo nimekam ku get busy. You've been on my case for a while, but baby I am not that easy. I'm feeling some type of way. Nishike kama siku za mwizi, tupige kama gym tuko tizi, nipike kama toke mandizi. Yeah. Today is your lucky day. What you gonna do now that you have me all to yourself? So come and get this before we get down to business. Baby, now my lover, number one lover. Baby, now my lover, number one lover.
John suffers from indigestion. His twin James suffers from heartburn. Sometimes it's the other way around or both. That's why they use Gaviscon Double Action. It soothes within 3 minutes and lasts up to 4 hours. For double relief from heartburn and indigestion, Gaviscon Double Action. If symptoms persist, seek medical advice.
I think it's time for us to reunite again and help your brother in his situation. You and I really need to make him feel that we're still a family.
Why did you allow Eva to come back to the Philippines? My daughter's life is in danger. I know it was Stella who wanted me dead.
So is he your favorite son now? You're just like Papa. Do you love Eno now?
Listen, I don't love Eno.
Of course you love him! He's your son!
He's not my son!
You two were destined to be together. It was written in the stars, and that's what I saw.
Rebecca, I'm glad you're awake. Where is my daughter?
Kisiwa Technical Training is an ISO-certified institution offering quality technical and entrepreneurship training relevant to the changing industrial and market demands. Apply now. Knowledge and skills for better life.
At Thwake in Makueni County, construction is ongoing along the river. The area is restricted by the periodic blasts from deep in the construction area, and the machinery going in and out of the restricted area are an indication of a promising project. The river will supply water to the region and more specifically to the Konza city.
The Thwake River is critical because it will not only provide water to that proposed new city or to the people of Makueni and Machakos, but Thwake will rejuvenate the land.
When of course people know that the water coming to Konza is contaminated, that will not be a selling point for the city. So it's a big issue.
If it was maximized, if it was fit for human consumption, it could solve all the water needs, and I'm saying all the water needs for these 3 counties. Because all the other rivers in these 3 counties, most of them are draining back to Athi River. When every other river in Makueni, Kitui has dried, this water is still flowing.
But the integrity of the water is a matter of concern.
To a large extent, unless the pollution is stopped, we're just damming poison. It's not even a sewer, we're just damming poison. Because this is poison. That color you see, those chemicals, that is poison to the blood.
So you can imagine doing a 86 billion dam to store sewer. Does it make sense? It doesn't make sense. You better use 50% of that money to clean the river and do a smaller dam, or whatever you do, but you make sure that you do not lose. Otherwise, if you do such a dam and you tap such a water, you will also spend a lot of money to treat that water to become useful or to become good for human consumption.
The workers are taking their midday break. They walk towards the Athi River if only to cool down. The water is their source of solace and comfort. They, however, feel the effect of the harsh water, but this is the only source of water available for miles.
Imagine nakwanga chafu.
Saa zingine unaweza pata mtu amekuja na ajui ama kuna kizima za kufukua alafu utumie maji anakuja anakunywa hii. Inamdhuru afya zake. Ukioga unasikia sio poa, juu unaashwa sana. Unajikwara sana. Mpaka kesho yake ndio waache kusikia hiyo maneno sasa.
Makueni County has a troubling water shortage. You make do with what's available. Take this dried up riverbed, for instance. Vehicles travel for long distances to draw water from this point, which unlike most areas provides clean, fresh water. They dig out the sand and underneath lies the very precious commodity. For a 20-litre jerrycan, these traders charge 20 shillings. Kisula tells us that Makueni has no choice but to rely on the Athi River for water.
This river, the place it traverses, right from the start of the county to the end, is the driest part of the county. Yeah, very strangely. So, you cannot even drill boreholes there because the water is very saline. And if you get water, you'll get very low volumes or quantities.
And so it does not come as a surprise when we witness traders and area residents drawing water from the Athi River. Our scientists are still with us, collecting the samples for the study.
It's unfortunate that we will call this clean water. We would have expected this water to have undergone some treatment before it is consumed. However, that looks like it may not be happening. We'll advise more, and of course we'll be able to see a broader picture after I've seen the actual components that are in this water.
Philip Masila has depended on this business for many years. He is also a resident of Makueni from birth and has witnessed the changes in the water over time.
Nyakati hizo maji ilikuwa safi sana. Ilikuwa hata ukiangalia nini huwezi kushindwa kunywa. Lakini wakati huu ukiangalia unaona hii maji ni kama sio mzuri kwa kunywa.
He is saddened by the lack of concern by those responsible for the pollution. His tanker has the inscription "Clean Water," which is a far cry from the true description of the water he draws for his customers. He supplies the water to residential areas and guest houses around Makueni. He tells us that though he knows that the water is not clean, it is the only source available, and so he does what he must.
Ndio hakuna mahali pengine pa kunywa maji, unakunywa hiyo tu direct. Hakuna uweke dawa gani au dawa gani. Wengi hata akija hapa akiwa na kiu anachota anakunywa na anaenda.
The same goes for his colleague Daniel Mutua. He is on his way to a farm where he works, and he makes several trips in a day.
Chota maji ya kwenda kufua nguo, kukunywa, kuonga na matumizi mengine.
If I can't drink that water, I shouldn't allow anybody to drink that water. And yet, I cannot stop the pollution that is happening upstream. So I feel a lot of guilt. I feel, I feel bad. I feel very, very, very bad.
Life goes on, albeit with great struggle. A struggle that city dwellers may not be aware of. We proceed further downstream to Malindi, Kilifi County. This is Sabaki, where the river meets the ocean. The water sampling is a little complicated at this point, as the scientists will need to take samples from different spots to ensure that they separate the salty ocean water to the fresh river water. Residents of this area depend on the river for fishing and for agriculture. For a select few, the river also serves their domestic needs. Downstream in Sabaki, the effects of the toxic flow is palpable. Residents like Zawadi Kadenge have had to improvise ways of cleaning the water before use to avert the health risks that come with consuming the water.
Maji ambayo tulikuwa tukitumia ni mekundu mpaka tununue dawa ndo tupiga ile maji ya safishike yawe masafi ndio tuyatumie kunywa, kupikia. Na baada ya kwamba tunataka maji ya kunywa mpaka tuyachemshe. Hiyo kwa kilo, hiyo dawa tayari ni 150. Ukinunua hiyo unamaliza mwezi mmoja ndio ishe. Alafu utachanganya na majirani watakuomba wasaidie, ambaye ana nafasi ya pesa msaidie, apigie maji yake asaidie watoto wake.
The cost was too high to bear and still diseases were rampant. They now rely on water from different water points provided by the county and by humanitarian organizations.
Watu wanunua chombo cha maji, plastiki 20. Plastiki moja bei yake ni shilingi 2.10. Bombo viwili ni shilingi 5. Ambao kwa siku plastiki zangu za maji nabeba plastiki 10 ndio ninashindana hizo. Mpaka kesho tena plastiki 10.
This cost to them is a small price to pay compared to the health challenges they faced using the polluted water in the past, not to mention the high hospital fees.
There has been an increase of cancer cases, both cervical cancer, breast cancer, throat cancer, all type of cancers. Sometimes we ask ourselves, even at the community level, why is it that there has been an increase of cancers? Why is it type of food? Is it the lifestyles? What exposures are there?
Daniel Kazito shares the same sentiments. He has lost 2 family members who died from a strange disease that they suspect could have been caused by the water.
La kwanza ilikuwa ni throat cancer. Na wa pili ilikuwa ni nimekwambia kansa ya kwenye hii ambayo inazuia meno hii. Chanzo aliyekuwa anapiga mswaki tu wa kijiti. Ndio akaanza kutoka damu na damu ikaanza kutirika hivyo uvimbo kazidi mpaka ikawa sura hata anatisha.
So this is bacterial testing.
The results of the water tests may provide answers to his questions regarding the contents of the river, but may fall short of confirming whether or not the river is related to his loss.
Maji mazuri ni haya mineral water. Maana hata si mazuri hayo, lakini vile tunakunywa tu. Lakini hata maji ya mfereji si mazuri, lakini tunakunywa hivyo. Ndio kusema kama maji hayana haramu.
At the river, we find Sofa Karisa, a fisherman who also engages in some farming by the river, which at this point is called River Sabaki. His produce suffers occasional distractions from these masters of the water. While these animals pose a danger to the crop and to humans, there is something more sinister in the waters.
Mimi nalima mahindi, nyanya na mboga, tomato, sukuma wiki, spinach, biringanya, mchicha na natumia maji ya mtoni kunyunyizia. Nyingine ukimwagia mimea inaweza kuanza kukufa, kusinyaa ama kuangusha majani.
Most of the residents of Sabaki have never traveled to the city of Nairobi. And while they complain about the state of the river here, they are unaware of how the waters look like upstream. We give Karisa a glimpse of where the water he depends on for food and drink comes from.
Ningefikiria huu uchafu wanatupa hapa wangeliacha kutupa, kwa sababu kama haya ndo ambayo yanatoka kule yanakuja paka kwa humu wa Sabaki. Ni uchafu mwingi ajabu ambao ndo magonjwa mengi yanadhuru kwa sababu ya uchafu kama ule. Rangi ni meusi, ni machafu zaidi. Ndo yakifika huku yanachange, yanakuwa mengine yanakuwa meusi, yanakuwa na wekundu kwa sababu ya huku mchanga wenyewe nao pia huo unageuza yale maji yakifikia huku. Kwa hivyo si mzuri, yangelikuwa yanatupa takataka paka yanakuwa namna ile. Na huku watu wanatumia kunywa, watu wanatumia huku kuoga, wanatumia kufulia, wanatumia kunyunyizia miti maji.
The scientists collect fish and sediments growing around the river to get a historical picture of the chemical composition of the water.
Those are edible, and when they eat, they live in that water which is contaminated. They accumulate these toxicants and may end up causing health problems to the consumers.
The samples once collected are supposed to be taken to the lab within 24 hours, which the scientists were able to achieve with every sample collected from source to the mouth of the river. It took a month for the results to be ready, and they were alarming to say the least.
Our final finding is that the Nairobi water is not safe, especially after it has left its source.
The results revealed the presence of heavy metals in the water, which was also confirmed in higher levels in the fish and plants that were tested. Manganese was discovered in the water from the source at 0.4 milligram per liter to the mouth at 0.95 milligram per liter. The highest levels of manganese were recorded at Pipeline area along Outer Ring Road in Nairobi, where the levels were at 3.56 milligram per liter. The recommended limit is 0.1 milligram per liter. Manganese is toxic to animals and humans when consumed in high amounts. It is known to affect the respiratory system and the brain, resulting in hallucination, forgetfulness, and nerve damage. In some cases, the accumulation of manganese in the body is known to cause the development of tumors.
We are seeing a lot of cases of cancer. We are not sure whether they are directly caused by the waters or not, but we cannot rule that out. Our hypothesis is that there's a big contribution of pollution into the diseases that we are seeing. We are seeing also respiratory diseases are rising up, some of those things, and then the traditional tropical diseases, whereby people have stomach ailments that don't seem to go away, and then now people are getting rashes. You know, when I look at my health report, you see people are starting to get rashes and what they call skin diseases.
Also present in the water is lead, recorded at every point of sampling. The scientists recorded lead at a high of 0.08 milligram per liter. Lead is highly toxic, more so to children. It affects multiple body systems. Lead is known to be stored in the brain, liver, kidney, and bones, where it accumulates over time. Lead in the bone is released into the blood during pregnancy and is transferred to the developing fetus. According to the World Health Organization, there is no known safe level of lead exposure. In children, lead can have profound and permanent adverse health effects on the brain and nervous system. In adults, it causes an increased risk of high blood pressure and kidney damage. Exposure of pregnant women to high levels of lead may result in miscarriage, stillbirth, premature birth, and low birth weight.
Our health personnel are grappling with why in the neighborhood of that river people would have high incidence of infertility.
Arsenic was not found in the water, but very high levels were discovered in a crab fished out at the Sabaki River. The crab was found to have 3.84 milligram per liter level of arsenic, a far cry from the recommended limit of 0.1 milligram per liter, which means it had 38 times more arsenic than what is recommended by the World Health Organization. Long-term exposure to arsenic from drinking water and food can cause cancer and skin lesions.
Boiling of water will mainly target the living contaminants like the bacteria, the protozoa, the viruses, but the chemicals, the metals, they are heat resistant.
It has also been associated with cardiovascular disease and diabetes. In utero and early childhood exposure, it has been linked to negative impacts on cognitive development and increased deaths in young adults.
So if you live in Nairobi, in one of the big, beautiful estates in Nairobi, and you think that just because you're not in Machakos, or you think that you're not in Makueni or Kitui or Kilifi, that you're immune. But the sukuma wiki being brought to your table, the stew, the chicken you're eating, the curry you're making, already is infected, then you're also in trouble. So this is a problem for all of us.
Iron was also present, and though not harmful at low levels, iron in water is considered a contaminant because it also contains bacteria that feed off it. In addition to this, high iron content leads to an overload, which can cause diabetes, stomach problems, nausea, and vomiting. Other elements found in the samples tested include aluminium, which in high levels may cause problems with the nervous system, copper, which in high levels may cause headaches and stomach discomfort, and barium, whose health effects include cardiovascular diseases, kidney diseases, metabolic, neurological, and mental disorders, according to a Duke University study. Though no traces of mercury were found, the scientists say that they cannot rule them out, as this depends on changing variables such as the time the samples were collected and the outlet of the chemicals from the source of pollution.
Hizi ni nyumba za kanjo ama ni za? Hii ni Ngara housing. In the raw sewage.
While this may be new information to many, it is not to the government, as the discovery was made years ago.
There's a study that was brought up when I was working for the national government during a permanent secretaries meeting, when somebody said that they found out that the people who live or who are affected by the Athi River, basically from Nairobi River, Athi River, Galana, all the way to Sabaki River, that due to the pollution in those rivers, that the cases of cancer tend to be high, or even slightly higher, along this region as a result of the pollution of that river.
You cannot have an environment that is free of everything, because all the things that we use, the preservatives we use, so there are some levels that they say from the health point of view, this level is okay. You should not be scared. But if you go beyond this level, then you should try to put mechanism. So when we did that in those days, it was said that what we should be very much concerned is the E. coli, the bacteria from domestic waste, from sewage.
If lawmakers do not take action, the waters will continue to threaten the life of not just the living, but also the unborn.
I've made it very clear to my people of Machakos, especially my manufacturers, my business people. I want them to make money. However, I will not look the other way if they are polluting. I will not allow them to pour blood. I will not allow them to kill our mothers and our fathers and our children, born and unborn. I will not allow them to destroy the lives of our youth so that their bank accounts can be richer.
An individual can be exposed to a chemical once in his lifetime, and it can take several years before the cancer develops. So a single exposure can cause cancer. But the more exposure, the more the repeated exposure, the more likelihood. So it varies from one individual to another.
Are you telling me is now that there's cancer everywhere, big guys are dying of cancer, that we are realizing there's a problem? We have been incubating a problem.
We have a big challenge with NEMA. Some of NEMA's officers are the ones who are actually, because of corruption, also contaminated, because we've had struggles at times trying to shut down some factories which are given a clean bill of health.
This may be perception that government officers are compromised unless somebody has a fact. And if you have facts, then disciplinary action will be taken against such a person.
Wherever the river passes, life continues as normal, while the toxic flow remains a silent killer targeting not just the innocent, but also the polluters. The effects are now visible with the increased diagnosis of diseases that may be linked to some of the chemicals discovered in the water. It will take a united effort to not only clean the Nairobi River, but also protect the soils, which, if saturated with the toxins, may be even harder to remedy. Charity Mwangi, NTV.
What a great yet worrying insight into what we are consuming. Toxic Flow there by NTV's Charity Mwangi and the team as well. Just some feedback via Twitter. Kigotho, you say we're doomed as a country from our ignorance. So many authorities, but nothing to show for results. Thanks NTV Kenya for good and helpful journalism, bold, balanced, decisive and unbiased. And another tweet here by Jonathan. You say, it's quite sad how far-reaching corruption can be. I believe someone allowed buildings and establishments to be built along the rivers without following the proper guidelines. Short-term gain, far-reaching effects. And Mose, you say, we all act surprised at the rise in disease, especially cancer. We definitely bring this upon ourselves. The relevant authorities are dead asleep. Well, the outcome of that feature is pretty straightforward. Nairobi water is not safe. Coming up after this short break on NTV Weekend Edition. Incredible. The chef who's now the cream of the crop after spending 75 hours in the kitchen. Details after this.
For nearly 5 decades now, Daystar has been stirring passions, supporting and shaping career aspirations as it develops transformational servant leaders for Africa and beyond.
The Peace and Conflict Transformation Program at Daystar University recognizes human conflicts as an inevitable phenomenon in human relationships and in the world. I am a peace expert named Daystar University.
Book your intake now and be the next. Call us or visit www.daystar.ac.ke for more information.
Breakfast is not complete without the new Minute Maid NutriDefense's Nectar Plus. Complete the most important meal of the day with the goodness of great tasting juice fortified with vitamin E and zinc to complement your family's nutritional needs. Minute Maid NutriDefense's Nectar Plus. Breakfast complete.
Sensitivity is a short, sharp pain that people experience when they have something hot or cold getting to the nerve of the tooth, causing that discomfort. If the sensitivity is left alone, it may get worse. Dentists recommend Sensodyne to their patients. It's able to get inside the tooth and calm the nerve of the tooth down, and the proof's in the results. It works.
Birthday party.
Birthday party. Birthday party. Birthday party. Are we not invited? We have gifts. Malaria.
Mommy, pests.
Run.
Oh, die.
Party.
Compared to an ordinary spray, Mortein Doom Power Guard kills disease-causing pests instantly. Mortein Doom Power Guard.
Sona moja imetengenezwa kwa njia spesheli ili kupambana na maumivu kwa haraka. Sona moja ina aspirin kama kiungo. Sona moja, kitulizo kamili. Maumivu yakizidi, pata ushauri wa daktari.
Selena!
Toto, where's mommy?
Today's a toilet day.
What? Oh. Selena! Toilet day? Tomorrow we're hosting a party and it's a matter of my reputation. It's a toilet, not a white shirt. Even if you spend your entire day cleaning with bleach and detergent, it still won't be party ready. Impossible. Challenge. Harpic 10X. Even if you use bleach and detergent 10 times, they won't give you the same sparkling clean toilet that Harpic 10X would give you. Wow! Harpic Senex. Harpic, Kenya's #1 toilet cleaner.
This is to notify the general public that following the enactment of Water Act 2016, Rift Valley Water Services Board has changed its name to Rift Valley Waterworks Development Agency with effect from 26th April 2019. Our new mandate entails development of water infrastructure within our 7 counties. All contractual agreements we had before are not affected by this change. For more information, visit our website www.rvwwda.go.ke. Rift Valley Waterworks Development Agency. Dependable water infrastructure.
When the spirit of Kenya got going that magical day, it never looked back. And now, the same spirit is ready to take Kenya to the next level, led proudly by a new generation. Kenya Ki, Shangilia, hustle ya Kenya.
Mbele iko sawa nimecheck. Na leo nadai moja ya power that I will never forget. Drop me your pin and our location. Staki stories za simu, mistaki my conversations. Staki utanipata kwenye gate kama ni appointment. You know that I won't be late. No, hii story najua well na relate. So katambe mtu mbili sote tu participate. Take a selfie.
Leo nimekam ku get down. Leo nimekam ku get busy. You've been on my case for a while. But baby, I am not that easy. I'm feeling some type of way. Nishike kama siku za mwizi. Tupige kama gym tuko tizi. Nipike kama toke mandizi. Yeah. Today is your lucky day. What you gonna do now that you have me all to yourself? So come and get this before we get down to business. Take a selfie. Baby, now my lover. #1 lover. Baby, now my lover. #1 lover.
Thanks for staying with us. Mombasa-based chef Maliha Mohammed will have her name enshrined in the Guinness Book of World Records after spending the most amount of hours cooking. Maliha has been cooking for 75 hours non-stop to beat the world record, which stood at 68 hours. NTV's Kevin Mutai was there when she celebrated her fate. Have a look.
3. The countdown. And then the moment she earned her spot in the Guinness Book of Records for spending the most time in the kitchen. Her journey started on Thursday at 10 a.m. all through to Sunday, where she became the first woman and the first chef in the entire world to cook for 75 straight hours. She beat the current Guinness record of 68 hours by Ricky Lampkin of the United States.
Safari kwa ngumu sana kwa sababu ya maumivu ninayopata kwa miguu zangu, hasusan kwa kusimama kwa muda mrefu na pia kukosa kulala. Huwa nalala kwa dakika 30 kwa kila masaa 12 nikipika chakula.
Maliha is a self-trained chef who has perfected her culinary art. She cooked over 400 recipes of traditional and international cuisines. Prior to setting the new record, she undertook 2 trial sessions, first in June this year when she cooked for 36 hours and then in July for 54 hours.
For the youth out there, if you have a talent in anything, let alone be cooking, you just have to be persistent in yourself. You need to be relentless of your own dream because nobody can fight for your dream but yourself.
She's one of the first female in Kenya who is bringing the record home. So I am very proud of my mom because I can say, yes, this is Chef Maliha Islam, my mother, who broke the Guinness World Record of non-stop cooking 75 hours.
She now awaits official announcement from the Guinness World Records in the United Kingdom.
In Pwani, we believe in empowering our people. In Pwani, we believe in ensuring that the local talent in Kenya and very much in Mombasa is given the limelight.
Other Kenyans who have featured on the famous world list include Joseph Love, who milked 30 cows by hand in 1 hour in 1992. Kimani Maruge also became the world's oldest pupil at 84 years in 2004. Kevin Mutai, NTV, Mombasa.
Wow, congratulations, Maliha. What an impressive world record to beat. And I strongly believe that somebody now owes you a 5-course meal. Good for you. All right, let's shift focus now and take you to the political desk. And Jubilee MPs allied to Deputy President William Ruto want President Uhuru Kenyatta to sever ties between him and opposition leader Raila Odinga, arguing he is only using him to ascend to the presidency. While on the other hand, leaders opposed to the deputy president are musing over a tour of their Mount Kenya region to sell the Odinga agenda there. NTV's political affairs reporter Kennedy Mureithi with Sunday's political happenings.
Politicians allied to Deputy President William Ruto had a coordinated message in all meetings they attended as they drummed up support for his 2022 candidacy. The message echoed to keen listeners had the clarion call to reinvigorate their Jubilee party and ready it for the 2022 presidential duel, which they are now more than ever convinced it will be between their second in command in the party, that is DP William Ruto, and opposition leader turned President Uhuru Kenyatta's biggest supporter, Raila Odinga.
Ule mtu wa kitendawili ametangaza ya kwamba anataka kushindana na mimi kule 2022. Mimi nataka niseme hivi, haya mambo nimeyasikia. Kama alikuwa anasema inifikie, mimi nataka nimweleze nimesikia.
We want him to make a commitment to the people of Kenya publicly ya kwamba akishindwa vile ameshindwa mara ile iliyopita, atakubali ameshindwa na aende itaya na wachane na sisi.
Hawa watoto wa matajiri ambao wanataka kupanga uongozi peke yao, watoe kwa moja, warudishe kwa wengine, wakati wao umekwisha.
According to Ruto allies, the Building Bridges initiative was just but one of the tricks in Raila's bag as he reinvented himself ahead of the polls. They argue the referendum push is part of the plot too.
He wants to use it as a platform to stage a front again in his contest for the presidency in 2022.
Constitutional change, to me, it is being driven by people with selfish motive who only see it as a vehicle to power.
But even as they demonized Raila, a group of current and former legislators opposed to the deputy president were singing Odinga's praises and were even contemplating a tour of the Mount Kenya region to popularize him.
Mungu ni mwema, akalete mambo ya handshake, Raila na Uhuru wakachikana, nchi yetu ikatulia. Na ndio mimi nawaambianga viongozi wengi wa hapa Central, ukimuona Raila usije ukamutusi.
We all understand that Raila controls roughly half this country, and anyone who imagines that you can actually lead this country without his input or his supporters' input, I think we will be denying a fact.
They now join a list of Mount Kenya politicians that have been seen to gravitate towards Raila and rallying their support bases to get behind him. Kennedy Mureithi, NTV.
This time Wednesday, Kenya will have found out if her dreams to occupy a non-permanent seat at the UN Security Council are valid. While the Ministry of Foreign Affairs is confident of a win, sure that Kenya is going into the vote rather in a strong position, they have been blindsided in the past. The race for the leadership of the African Union Commission in 2017 left a bitter taste in the mouth of President Uhuru Kenyatta's administration. And while Kenya may have picked itself up and dusted off, only the final tally will tell whether it's all been worthwhile or all for nothing. NTV's Olive Burrows reports.
Another day, another country. This time, President Uhuru Kenyatta was in Sudan's capital, Khartoum, on Saturday to witness the signing of a power-sharing deal between the nation's military council and main opposition coalition. A momentous occasion for which Kenya was front and center.
The region and the international community stands ready to render their full support in the path to reforms, peace and development.
The ceremony also provided a brief opening on a closing window for President Kenyatta to do some last-minute schmoozing in the advancement of Kenya's ambition to occupy a seat on the UN Security Council. The African Union membership taking a deciding vote on Wednesday on who between Kenya and Djibouti will best advance its interests at the UN Security Council. Kenya's Ministry of Foreign Affairs has exuded confidence that Kenya has every expectation of winning the AU's backing after securing 33 of 49 votes in the first round on August the 5th. Kenya has invested heavily in its effort to secure a non-permanent seat on the council, with President Kenyatta launching an all-out charm offensive in seeking out allies. The UN General Assembly is expected to take a vote on the available seats in June of next year. But before Kenya can set its eyes on New York, her eyes are firmly trained on Addis Ababa in the hope that her neighbors and friends on the continent can be trusted not to break her heart, as they did when Kenya's spirited campaign for the AU chairmanship came to naught. Olive Barrows, NTV.
Elsewhere, police in Embakasi are investigating a racket involved in illegally packaging and supplying gas to estates within Nairobi. This is after a truck was nabbed and is currently at the Embakasi police station with gas cylinders that were ready for distribution. The suspects use an unknown gas brand, and according to police officers at the station, investigations are ongoing to bring to book those involved and have them charged in court. Police say anyone arrested will be presented in court tomorrow morning. Well, there have been concerns about the safety of gas products being sold in estates, with some unscrupulous dealers said to be on the government radar. Police at the Embakasi station declined to comment on the matter, saying it was still under investigation. Now, in a world of long-held rituals and traditions, pomp and colour marked the coming-of-age ceremony of some 6,000 Morans from the Ilchamus community in Marigat, Baringo County. The ceremony was to mark the transition of different age sets in an event held once every 10 years.
A call to a community knitted together by its customs, one of the most momentous events in their calendars. It happens just once every decade. Over 6,000 Morans are this time set to graduate into elders at the end of a year-long process that sees the end of one age and the anointing of a new one.
Sherehe hii ya Lumongo Poye Kangite ni sherehe ambayo inatupa ruhusa sasa tukue sisi tumekuwa wase na sasa tunapeana nafasi kwa wavulana watahiriwe.
This centuries-old initiation ceremony reflects the importance placed on age sets as critical life events. The graduates will now take over the mantle of leadership in the community and pave room for the new generation of initiates.
Sherehe ya leo ni kuhitimu hawa ili wawe kamilifu katika kwenda kupata familia zao, wapate kuoa na pia wachukue jukumu zingine mengi ya jamii.
To mark the occasion, a large spotless bull that is carefully selected is sacrificed and its meat roasted to feed thousands of ceremony attendants. Its organs are later used to offer ritual blessings. The last one in 2009 saw 4,500 boys initiated into Morans. It is an extremely important tradition in the Ilchamus community, where the entire community congregates to witness the event. Zainab Ismail, NTV.
It's time for another break on NTV Weekend Edition, but coming up, how this hairdresser uses her clients' trimmings to make art. Stay with us.
Hey, mister. Where you going?
Men clean their cars themselves. I'll also clean my own bike. I'm grown up now.
Then you'll need this. The most pleasant surprise for a mother is to see her child growing up. But I know as he learns to take more responsibility, he'll face more dirt, germs, and the risk of illness.
That's why you need strong Dettol protection.
because Dettol cleans and protects against 100 illness-causing germs.
Growing up needs Dettol protection.
Making my family some nutritious porridge is a painstaking process. First, I have to find all the ingredients needed, and there are many. For vitamins, proteins, and minerals, I need cassava, sorghum, millet. You no longer need to go through all that to make nutritious porridge. All you need is NutriPro.
You don't have to go through the trouble of finding, measuring, and weighing all these vital ingredients. New NutriPro porridge flour comes fortified with 13 vitamins, proteins, and minerals. This means that you have more time to focus on what's important, giving your family the healthy start they deserve. NutriPro, bringing families together. From Tropical Brand.
Nation FM. More music and less talk. Nairobi 96.3, Mombasa 101.5, Meru 93.9, Nyeri 104.9, Eldoret 102.7, and Nakuru on 97.7. Follow us on social media on Facebook at Nation FM, Instagram at Nation FM, and on Twitter at Nation FM KE. Nation FM. More music and less talk.
Slices of life.
Welcome to Kisiwa Technical Training Institute. Kisiwa Technical Training is an ISO-certified institution offering quality technical and entrepreneurship training relevant to the changing industrial and market demands. Apply now for our September 2019 intakes in the following: diploma and certificate courses, electrical engineering, building and construction technology, business administration, mechanical engineering, informational communication technology, communication, automotive engineering, library information sciences, human resource development, food and beverages, business studies, general agriculture and supplies management. Kisiwa Technical Training Institute. Knowledge and skills for better life.
I'm hungry.
Yes, with some extra fries. Delivery on the way.
So extra.
No!
So extra.
Has to be extra because extra data is always better with extra minutes. Dial *544# to subscribe and share live extra. Telkom, moving with you.
NHIF wishes to notify the public that the jobs advertisement making rounds on social media titled National Hospital Insurance Fund NHIF Entry-Level Job Opportunities 2019 has not been placed by NHIF. The advertisement is a hoax and should be ignored. NHIF is currently not hiring and will do proper communication in the event of any available job opportunities in the future. NHIF, Afya Yetu, Bima Yetu.
Beat germs with Jik. Kills 99.9% of germs on your kitchen surfaces, sponges, chopping boards, sink and fridge, and your bathroom taps, showerhead, basin and surfaces. Just Jik it. Look out for our new improved packaging in store. Just Jik it.
NTV Weekend Edition with Smirit Vidyarthi.
Thanks very much for staying with us. Let's have a look at some key events that we need to keep an eye on this week. And on Wednesday, as we mentioned, the African Union will vote on who between Kenya and Djibouti will be nominated for the UN Security Council seat. Now, we do know that President Uhuru Kenyatta has been lobbying for this, and Kenya's Ministry of Foreign Affairs is indeed confident and hopeful about winning the AU's backing after securing 33 of 49 votes in the first round on the 5th of August. Also this week, the annual Judicial Conference on Accountability and Independence kicks off tomorrow. It's a 4-day conference attended by judges from the Supreme Court, the Court of Appeal, the High Court, the Environment and Land Court, and also the Employment and Labour Relations Court. And as you see here, the theme is balancing judicial independence and also accountability. Also to look forward to this week at the end of the 2019 census on population and housing. That takes place on the 24th of August, and the nationwide count is expected to improve planning and also decision making based on evidence from that census. And also the world's biggest conference on wildlife trade is happening this week. Delegations from around the world gather in Switzerland for CITES, and that is the Convention on International Trade in Endangered Species of Wild Fauna and Flora. They will discuss the protection of more than 500 species, including the future of the ivory trade, rhino horn trade, the management of African elephant populations, and also the booming exotic pet business. So those are key events that we will be watching closely for you. All right, let's bring you some interesting pictures now and have a look at these creations that really are a cut above the rest. A North Macedonian hairdresser called Svetlana.
Mbona mnajisikianga hivyo ama mnaonanga mkikaa kale kamkate ka mwisho?
Nani?
Shetani machana yeye.
Shetani mugani? Shetani mugani? Tebu tuonyeshe shetani mugani?
Johnny.
Oh, kametokwa ho!
Slay Queen ni watu wezi simama na mguu zao zikiwa pamoja.
Simshaona vile yeye jikunja hapa. Kakuchukulia kapasi tu kadogo kazuri.
Like, are we together?
Yes, yes.
So, like, you know, when he said that he's not ready
together like that. Askari mwenye aliingia nadhani hajawahi patana na maiti ikiwa serious. Enda kuleta kichwa tukakutana yeye niki. Niligonga jeneza wakaachilia korami paragachani karuka nene wakasema shaitani. Polisi mbio, mimi mbio, raia mbio kuondoka. Nisikia mama moja ameuliza iko nini? Kamwambia wao ni maiti imeanguka.
The Wicked Edition, every Friday from 7:30 p.m. only on NTV.
Jina la Yesu litafika everywhere. Tunadansia Yesu na gwara 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 gwara. Hakuna kama Yesu na gwara gwara gwara.
Nasikia ulidai, nasikia Amina ulidai, uko juu sana, nasikia ulijidai. When the rap king utaitwa Foma Sahi, Foma Sahi. Wewe ni fala, ono mesleki, mimi mjanja, wewe ni rapper fake.
Bum bum bum, shake your bum bum, bum bum. Shake your bum 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 bum. Giddy 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 go down. Giddy 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 go down. Giddy 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 giddy.
Basi hapa ndipo na ndipo hapa. Kwa majina ananiita Trevor NTV mambo yote.
What shall I render to Jehovah? For he has done so very much for me.
Take me a little deeper. I wanna know you.
Yummy, someone took their sweet time and thought about us.
Rembo TV, simply beautiful.
When the spirit of Kenya got going that magical day, it never looked back. And now, the same spirit is ready to take Kenya to the next level, led proudly by a new generation. Kenya Kin, Shangilia, Hustle ya Kenya.
Well,
Thank you so much. Can I buy a chocolate, please? It's for my mom. Happy birthday, Mom.
Thank you, Bella. There's a class and a half in everyone.
In 2017, Lifestyle Estates promised Lifestyle Heights in Tatu City. The dream is now reality. Lifestyle Heights is ready for occupation from 1st September 2019. Lifestyle Heights is a modern gated community of 2, 3, and 3-bedroom with DSQ apartments with amenities rare to find elsewhere. We are inviting you to our open day on the 24th and 25th August 2019 at Lifestyle Heights, Tatu City from 8 a.m. Karibuni nyote.
I think it's time for us to reunite again and help your brother in his situation. You and I really need to make him feel that we're still a family.
Why did you allow Eva to come back to the Philippines? My daughter's life is in danger. I know it was Stella who wanted me dead.
So is he your favorite son now? You're just like Papa. Do you love Eno now?
Listen, I don't love Eno.
Of course you love him! He's your son!
He's not my son!
You two are destined to be together. It was written in the stars, and that's what I saw.
Rebecca, I'm glad you're awake.
Where is my daughter?
Kisiwa Technical Training is an ISO-certified institution offering quality technical and entrepreneurship training relevant to the changing industrial and market demands. Apply now. Knowledge and skills for better life.
Let's have a look at the day's sports news. Welcome, my name is Brian Otual. Gor Mahia beat Bandari 1-0 to win the 2019-2020 Kenyan Premier League Super Cup at the Kenyatta Stadium in Machakos. Lawrence Juma scored the lone goal in the 64th minute, and coach Stephen Pollack's Chargers will now be hoping to carry their winning momentum when they take on Burundi's Aigle Noir in their preliminary round of the CAF Champions League return tie at the Kasarani Stadium. Meanwhile, Bandari's Bernard Mwalala hopes to build on his players' display ahead of their CAF Confederation Cup clash with Sudanese side Al Ahli Shendi next Friday. And world steeplechase record holder Beatrice Chepkoech recorded her third win at the Birmingham leg of the Diamond League in Alexandra Stadium, United Kingdom, in the 3,000-meter steeplechase event. Chepkoech, who ran the fastest time this season when she claimed a double at the... Feel me, oh God. Feel me, oh God.
Jesus, you love me too much, oh, too much, oh. Too much, oh, excess love, oh.
Consuming fire, burn it away, burn it away. Not the power, your spirit, send your spirit down,
Right, left, right. Left to right and turn.
5:34 in a match played at the International School of Moshi. Dagoretti put their best foot forward to beat a tough college Mari Raini from Rwanda 53-49. Meanwhile, Kayatiwi went down fighting a 66-58 to arch rival St. Mary's Kitende from Uganda. In netball, Nyakach Girls Secondary School suffered a humiliating 96-24 loss to Uganda champions St. Mary's Kitende. In hockey, boys champions St. Anthony's Boys Kitale, St. Cecilia Misiku and St. John's Kaloleni began their campaigns on winning notes respective matches at St. Constantine grounds. And former Harambee Stars defender James Situma and midfielder Jerry Santo ended their footballing career in style in a match held at the Kamtoyo grounds. This as Valerie Ayabei and Matthew Kimali won Safaricom 10-kilometer road race. Befino Koth with the details.
Eldoret City Marathon champion Valerie Ayabei is the winner of the 2019 Safaricom 10-kilometer road race for the second year running after dominating the run held in Elgeyo Marakwet County. Ayabei clocked 32 minutes 29.6 seconds in the women's category. Edith Chelimo and Dorcas Jepchirchir completed the podium places. Matthew Kimali won in the men's category in a time of 28 minutes and 57 seconds ahead of Edwin Kiprop and Emmanuel Bor in second and third places respectively. Former Harambee Stars players James Situma and Jerry Santo have retired from international and local football. Situma has played football for 17 years, while Jerry has played for 14 years. The two played their matches at Camp Toyoyo grounds, where Team Situma thrashed Team Jerry 7-1. Team Situma's goals were scored by Situma himself, Alan Wanga who scored hat-trick, Ezekiel Odera who scored brace, and Innocent Mutiso. Simon Buru was on target for Team Jerry Santo.
Nimekuwa emotional, unajua niko nimesema ni kitu napenda kufanya, na unajua ukifika mahali unasema imetosha, then inakuwa vigumu kwako, but all the same nashukuru.
Nafikiri ni vizuri kwa sababu marafiki ambao nimekuwa nimecheza nao miaka 14 wamepata kuja kunisherehekea na mimi labda mechi yangu ya mwisho. Ni jambo ambalo naweza nikasema nimefurahia.
US Ambassador to Kenya Kyle Makata noted on the importance of using football as a tool in fighting radicalization and crime. Makata spoke on the sidelines of the Super 8 tournament that saw defending champions Jericho All-Stars beat Kawangware 3-0 as Leeds beat Shauri Moyo Blue Stars 5-1 at BP grounds.
In this country, I think for a very long time, we have neglected the sports industry. I think it's about time we invested heavily in sports. We've been talking about it for years. It's time for action. We need proper facilities.
And you know, we got to give them something positive instead of the alternatives of being in crime and being in these gangs and drugs and all the other things. We have to give them an alternative for something good.
Muranga's Taekwondo team was fitted after emerging winners in the 2019 Open Taekwondo Championship that was held at Edinburgh School. The team, which was number 3 last year, trounced 7 other teams by banking 15 awards to win this year's championship. Beffin Okoth, NTV.
To some English Premier League football, and Wilfred Ndidi's second half header earned Leicester City a deserved point in the English Premier League and denied Frank Lampard victory in his first game at Stamford Bridge as Chelsea manager. Chelsea took the lead through 20-year-old
NTV today. You are just in time. The live link will be done by Muledan, and sports has a lot to be shown. And Sean Cardovillis
keeping you up to date with all you need to know as and when it happens.
It's not been a very good morning in the country. We've had a very grisly accident.
In clear context to all the relevant issues.
Reacquire the property they've gotten with our looted money and save this country for my child and daughter Teko and the many children.
From our studios to the ground where the action is live.
Misuse of funds here in the country.
Someone donating their hat to Bernard Ojwang there.
Welcome to NTV today. You are just in time. The live link will be done by Muledan, and sports has a lot to be shown. And Sean Cardovillis
keeping you up to date with all you need to know as and when it happens.
It's not been a very good morning in the country. We've had a very grisly accident.
In clear context to all the relevant issues.
Reacquire the property they've gotten with our looted money and save this country for my child and daughter Teko and the many children.
From our studios to the ground where the action is live.